So all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Okay, Jesse,
Here.
Gladys,
Here.
Kate,
Here.
Bridget,
Here.
Lauren, here, Ralph,
Present.
Louisa,
Here.
Al,
Here.
Teresa,
Here.
and Michelle,
Here.
Julie, absent.
All right, Spotlight U School, Rogers Park Middle School, come on up. Please hold all applause to the end.
Yes, please.
So I prepared a 52-page slideshow. But you all know I do love to talk, so I did in fact pre-record it so that I would stick to my limits. So the amazing Mr. Wallace, who is our tech leader, is going to start it.
You can make that just a little smaller.
Just a little bit, just. And
There it is.
We are so proud of all the awards our staff have won. Miss Emily Lopes for the 2022 DPS Teacher of the Year Award. Miss Dana Perez for the 2022 Connecticut Association of Schools Assistant Principal of the Year Award. Mr. Bernardo DeCastro for the 2023 RPMS Teacher of the Year Award. And I was humbled to accept the 2023 Connecticut Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents Exceptional Principal Award this past Saturday. Colonial Subaru has been amazing to us and has adopted class. Best laid plans. Try, Joe. Go through the slide. We are so proud of all the awards our staff have won. Miss Emily Lopes for the 2022 DPS Teacher of the Year Award. Miss Dana Perez for the 2022 Connecticut Association of Schools Assistant Principal of the Year Award. Mr. Bernardo DeCastro for the 2023 RPMS Teacher of the Year Award. And I was humbled to accept the 2023 Connecticut Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents Exceptional Principal Award this past Saturday. Colonial Subaru has been amazing to us and has adopted classrooms for 2 years now. This year, our Project Lead the Way, Mr. Woodward and Mr. Lurie, our media specialists, Ms. Foley and Ms. Nowacki, and our art teachers, Ms. Woolman and Ms. Klubnik-Simone, received $500 each to spend for their classrooms. Colonial Subaru loves us so much that they raised an additional $1,050 to purchase graphing calculators for Mr. Dapkus' Algebra 1 class. We applied for and were awarded the 2022 CAS-CIAC Endowment and Flanagan Grant. We used this to secure youth leadership training for our student ambassadors. If you're watching Channel 8, What's Right with School in October, you may have seen Emily Lopes. They did a segment on her with her amazing bilingual education and focused on her co-teaching in science, where she brings content and English to life for our newly arrived students. Mark your calendars because on May 24th, Ms. Dana Perez will be featured in a segment on the RPMS meal train. 3 of our teachers are going to have an amazing summer because they were awarded the Fund for Teachers. Ms. Rourke will be going to Spain and Portugal to learn more about student cultures through an immersive experience. And Ms. Cooney and Ms. McKinley will be traveling together to Iceland. There, they will observe current sustainability and green technology usage to prepare for a cross-disciplinary project on climate change migration in the local environment here at Rogers Park. This year, we've used iReady as a whole school to accelerate student learning. Teachers have embraced it and students have bought into it, and everyone's excited about the growth. We are so proud to have had the highest growth of all schools in math on the winter benchmark, and one of the highest in reading. We focused a lot on our Tier 1 instruction this year to provide all students access to high-quality curriculum instruction. To further address the needs of our students, we collaborated with what we call the K-8 SRBI supervisor, Mr. Mark Poliquin, to develop a 6-8 decision tree and SRBI process to identify students who are not responding to our Tier 1 instruction. We meet monthly to discuss the students, and teachers actively monitor and then address the needs of the students in the moment. We believe in accountability as a means to ensure that changes we made this year had the desired effect we intended, which was to accelerate student growth and achievement. In order to do this, we've done a few things. One, we've met in our instructional leadership teams to discuss the data and make plans to move forward. Connecticut Association of Schools actually visited us to see how we facilitate this and tweeted us out. We've worked as a whole school on a PLC book study, where our aim was to build teacher capacity to examine student data and plan to meet their needs. An example of one of the ways we work with teachers is through our ELL PLC 7th grade history teachers. Our SciAP coach, Mr. Chris Hartman, was key in helping to support teachers to build their capacity to work effectively with multilingual learners. Another way we do this is through our instructional rounds, where we monitor the expectations we've set, and that way we're informed on the levels of support needed. But we don't just look at academic data. We are constantly looking at our attendance and behavior data. And we are so proud to show a precipitous drop in our chronic absenteeism, down nearly 20%. This is directly from the work that our full-time LEAP specialist, Mr. McCarley, does. This is a grant-funded position, and I'm hoping that we get it again next year. He does many home visits to support our families with connections to community agencies and to talk to parents about how important it is to send your child to school. He works on Tier 3 intervention groups, where he builds relationships with students and creates a strong connection with them and school so they want to attend. And a little incentive never hurts. Students who meet their attendance goals are rewarded with a pizza party. When we talk about school climate and culture, we've seen a decrease in the number of ISS and OSS incidents. And we do this in a two-pronged approach. We build relationships, and we address when those relationships are harmed. We build relationships through our School Climate Transformation Group, where we work alongside our student ambassadors to create ways to establish positive school culture and climate. And when needed, we can address individual students. We have a school-wide behavior expectations that were co-created with our students. We have a pride award system that acknowledges the best behavior. And we also have advisory, where students can talk and get to know one teacher as their trusted adult. When students don't meet all these expectations and are moved to Tier 2 because they have an increase in office discipline referrals, we have our check-in, check-out support through our school counselors, along with small group and individual counseling. Another thing we do is purposeful placement in advisory. It would be remiss if I didn't mention our family liaison, Ms. Molina, who does an amazing job at connecting our families so that they feel a part of the school as well. Other things that we do to create a positive school climate and culture is to work with the Scotts Ridge Middle School and our book exchange. Our two groups of students read the same book. This year it was What Lane, and they meet and discuss the book virtually, and then we've met in person. We got a special treat this year with a virtual meeting with the author of the book, Tori Maldonado. We celebrate our students all of the time, monthly at Student of the Month and Pride Award assemblies, trimesterly with our Honor and High Honor Roll breakfast, and monthly again with our iReady Superstars breakfast. We've worked this year to cultivate more things that students can do after school. And our PTO has been key in helping us increase the number of socials and 8th and 7th grade dances that we have. They're a small group of dedicated parents who are able to support our goal of increasing these number of experiences. We also work to provide a large number of extracurricular activities for students. Our building's buzzing all the time. The only thing we're missing is middle school sports. But we have a wide variety of things that kids can get involved in. We also work with our family and communities to engage our parents and our community members in our school. We work hard to bring them into our school through various night events where we break bread together, we celebrate our cultures, we celebrate our students and our school community. We have a nice connection with WestCon where each year they have a day of service where students come in and help us around the school. This year they painted our 3rd floor media center. We also work with Junior Achievement to do things like a career fair. The Center for Empowerment and Education have been a great partner and bring us awesome relationship and how to be good people connections in our health classes. We're proud of our work with our veterans, where each year our concert choir is invited back to sing the national anthem at the Pearl Harbor Memorial. We helped our parents ease into the school year with a Rogers Park Middle School student parent handbook so they knew what to expect. We also helped inform parents for information nights and our weekly newsletters. And our family liaison, along with Ms. Perez and our meal train, have helped our food insecure students have full bellies on the weekends. And another thing our family liaison has done to help support our families is to create a winter coat closet with new donated coats. Thank you so much for allowing me to shout out our school. I welcome any questions and an open invitation for anyone to visit us. Sorry, it wasn't good. Happy for any questions.
Thank you, Kristen. You have some of your crew here today. I see them.
Two amazing
back
assistant
there.
principals.
Stand up and introduce them and say hello.
The J&D of KJD, Jess Battaglia and Dana Perez. I just want to shout out Christine Miller, who will be getting an awesome award. She's an amazing asset to Broadview, but also an amazing asset to the middle school. So congratulations to her. Thank you.
All right. So recognition. So for Ms. Christine Miller, Broadview Middle School, named Danbury Public Schools 2023 Teacher of the Year. Congratulations.
So, no, please, see, we're gonna come over and take some pictures with you, because we know how well you do that. So before you start, Ms. Trucius and I wanna say a couple of words and just kind of thank you for your service to this district. I will just say something quickly. I don't know you as well as Kelly does, and Kate behind you from the special education department. But this board should know and this community should know. So during the pandemic was really when I got to meet you several times, and oftentimes, and no different now, I work with Ann Mead's office to get an idea of where I can be to help the community, etc. And oftentimes she's like, place me, Kevin, go here, go here, go here. And this board should know, this community should know, everywhere Ann told me to go, Christine Miller was already there, right? And I mean, every single time. And it was during the pandemic, it was post-pandemic, and it was clear that Ms. Miller was committed to supporting and serving this community. So I want to thank you, because I told this story to Kelly, and Kelly looked at me as if, well, this is kind of who she is, right? And we didn't need a pandemic to find out who you are. And so when I learned that you won this award, I just want to, it felt good to me knowing and seeing you on those front lines during that time, and then it just be confirmed what I saw confirmed like everything you do for this school district and this community. I was really happy to know that you ended up landing the award, so congratulations. Kelly Trucius also had some words for you.
Thank you, Mr. Walston. So Christine, congratulations to you. Christine, I'm just gonna say a few words about her, and knowing Christine, I know this is hard for her. Christine is very humble, but she's stellar. She does an amazing job for our school community. She goes above and beyond the call of duty every single day. She is sought out by her peers, by the students, and most importantly by her families. And it goes without saying that Christine is a name that comes up years later. I'll be working with a senior in high school, and they're like, "Remember when Miss Miller did fill in the blank?" And it's always something amazing. Christine is a social skills counselor at Broadview Middle School. Prior to that, she worked at Rogers Park Middle School. She supports the entire student body. So while she has a special place in her heart for students with special needs and does some amazing work with some of our most significantly disabled students, she really is an amazing asset to all of Broadview. We often talk about the pandemic and how the mental health needs of our school community, of our families, or the food needs, or food insecurity, or the economic needs. Christine was doing this all long before the pandemic. She has consistently sought out resources for families. So whether that's food on the table, hooking them up with medical care, counseling services inside or outside of school, they need furniture for their bedroom, food, she does it all. She started a food pantry at Broadview so students can come in and shop for whatever they may need for their houses. She runs our Unified Sports Program, and for those of you that are not familiar with what that is, that's when students with special needs are given a typical peer mentor to engage in fun but yet competitive sports. They do everything from soccer to track to other activities. She's also sought out grant opportunities to be able to expand that program and provide resources to the school community. She runs the Sandy Hook Promise programs at Broadview, and is really a leader around the state for that program. I could go on and on. I think I've given a good picture. Christine certainly does it all. She's a wonderful example and really represents the special ed and pupil services department, as well as the middle school level, very, very well. So Christine, I'm honored and privileged to work with you and have you as a part of this department. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I would say that this was a complete surprise to me. I feel very at home in the basement, as we call it at Broadview, and this was a big shock and brought an array of emotions from gratitude and grace and appreciation and so many things, but mostly it's made me feel very seen, which is not the most comfortable for me, but it is also what I want for all of the kids I work with and all the families and all the colleagues and all the people. And I will say that some of the best gifts I've ever received in my life have come since then in all the emails I received. When Emily Lopes spoke at the ceremony that night, she read an email from a student, and I've gotten emails like that, including one from one of my former student leaders, a Unified partner who is now a teacher at Park Avenue School, and she told me the story of a student she worked with and how I had helped her to see see the ability in everyone and to connect to students, and that she learned that being part of Unified in 8th grade. And I literally have read that email like every day. It makes my whole, world, it just means what matters. And so I thank Danbury Public Schools because it's been a place that has given me the opportunity to see what matters and to use that to fuel my way through every day, whether it's a good or bad, and that is truly what I've had the opportunity to do, and I feel so grateful to all of you and to everyone who makes that happen. To work in a place where the superintendent and all administrators are pulling food across the parking lot during a pandemic means everything to me. So I thank you all.
So you're not gonna get away that easy, because we do have a certificate for you. And just on behalf of the Board of Education, I just wanna say thank you, for your dedication. And you can hear when you talk the passion and, you know, like I say a lot of times, if you don't hear thank you enough, I apologize for that. So thank you on behalf of the board, and it comes through in just your personality and when you talk about what you do, how dedicated you are. And I just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
And the highlight of your night, you're going to get to take a picture with us. I'll sign it if
I
you
have so
want.
many just lying around, right? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Young fighter, yes, yeah, let's give everybody.
Thank you.
And I can jump out of the next one.
Kick it right here. Thank you.
Well, tell me something, tell me the truth. Come on, Mike, wait, stop, Mike. Can't have to do that, I can't.
Yeah, but just.
No, I thought that too, actually.
Yeah.
All right. Public participation. Any other any board members want to say anything to Ms. Miller or anything, before we move on to public participation?
Just like Ralph said, thank you so much, and just, we appreciate everything you do.
Okay. So public participation. The board welcomes public participation and asks that speakers please limit their comments to 3 minutes. Speakers may offer objective comments of school operations and programs that concern them. The board will not permit an expression of personal complaints or defamatory comments about Board of Education personnel and students, nor against any person connected with the Danbury Public School System. We have the list here. First name is Fred Merrill. Hi, how are you?
So I'm here to start a conversation, and the idea is I'm a Danbury High School teacher. I've been a special ed teacher at Danbury High School for 14 years, and I was at ACE before that for 7. And I'm just here to talk about cell phones and technology at the high school. In my time, I've seen a change in student behavior, and overall concerning behavior, and a lot of it has to do with cell phones. So the idea is I would like to propose the idea of considering storage systems for cell phones in the future in the classroom, because part of it is certainly the pandemic, but part of it is that I've seen the deleterious effects of cell phone usage, overusage, not just on student cognition, but on the way students behave. My days, generally, each class I go into, the bell rings, I have to ask the kids to put the phones away. I have to ask the kids to take their earbuds out. I have to ask the kids to take off their headphones. And I don't know, we're never going back in regards to cell phones being in the building, but as being charged with getting information into the kids' heads and seeing what they do all day long and working with an at-risk population and talking to them about how long each day they spend using their phone, what I'm seeing is troubling to me, because it's not, the cell phones actually, ironically enough, are not a nuisance. Kids have become more complacent, but it's at the expense of vibrancy. It's at the expense of their ability to think, sustain thought, activate thought, keep thought, ideas, knowledge in their head. I've been blessed to work with some of the finest teachers at Danbury, and I've watched the art of teaching grow as we've adopted standards. And so the art of teaching has improved. but I'm not seeing, with the kids that I work with, the improvement that should be coming. And I can only isolate it to one variable, which is the constant passive engagement with this device. I mean, if I had said to somebody 30 years ago, there's gonna be something that's invented that is a TV, that is a movie theater, that is a camera, that is a jukebox, that is all of these things, and will be in the classroom with a teenager. And you're gonna have to be the one to tell them to put it away, which I do. And I do team talk classes, so I have the liberty of monitoring the room while instruction's occurring, or I instruct, somebody else can kind of, so we have a little bit of an advantage. But the point is, there are days when we are firing on all cylinders and everybody's learning. And then we come back a day later and it's as if nothing happened. Or I say to a kid on another note, what do you enjoy? Not even what do you want to do, because that's a tough question. I don't know what I want to do. Some kids do, some kids don't. But if I tell them you can't say using your cell phone or sleeping, I'm getting more and more students that have nothing to share, that they don't enjoy anything else, or if I eliminate video games. And to me, as somebody who's charged with being in a building full of teenagers, trying to ensure not just that they're learning, but now we're charged with, trying to make sure that they're healthy as well. It's troubling. It weighs on me very heavily. When I walk in the morning and I see hundreds of kids in this position, some of them, many of them are, most of the kids are beautiful, wonderful people. It's not about bad kids, and it's not about, like I said, me being annoyed by cell phones. I mean, I am.
30 seconds.
What's that?
30 seconds left.
Well, I just want to end with, I think as a district, as a school that is charged with ensuring safety, health, vibrancy, and learning environment, that it is unjust that we don't consider doing something that allows teachers to have better control of their environment.
Thank you. There's no one else on the list. Is there anyone else here that didn't sign up to speak in public? Okay. All right, so student representatives, come on up.
Thank you.
Hello, we are the Danbury High School Board of Governors, and we're just here for some announcements. So Spirit Week is going to be next week, May 22nd through May 26th. And some of the themes that we've chosen are Future Day, where people will dress up as their future careers. Senior Citizen versus Babies Day, where we're marrying the juniors and seniors to dress up as senior citizens, and the freshmen and sophomores dress up as babies. And then our third day is going to be barbecue dads versus soccer moms. And then to end the week off, like we usually do, we're gonna have a color wars between the grades and a DHS School Spirit Day. AP testing has also been going on since last week, and it concludes tomorrow. There will also be retakes going on throughout next week. SATs, NGSS, and all the other testing has also concluded. Junior prom is going to take place this Friday, May 12th, and senior prom is going to be 2 weeks from now on the 26th. The last day for seniors in school is going to be June 7th, and there's going to be a lot of fun activities planned, like the trip to Six Flags. There's going to be captain gown graduation rehearsals, and a bunch of fun festivities.
Senior barbecue.
Yes, so it's going to be senior barbecue. The senior award ceremony is going to be June 5th, and it's going to be by invite only. The last principal's breakfast is going to be June 1st. It's going to be in person. The last day of school for all grades is June 15th. And there will be an art show on May 15th from 5 to 7 p.m. ESL award ceremony is going to take place May 24th. And just a shout out, this week is also Teacher Appreciation Week. And I would just like to shout out all the amazing teachers that helped make DHS a great learning environment for everybody.
So moving on, we also have class elections, which are currently happening, which are very exciting. We're seeing a lot of younger people getting the courage to represent the class and really speak up and have a voice for change. NHS inductions is going to be next Monday, May 15th, and we've had 52 inductees out of the 100 applications, which is really exciting. We have a middle school graduation on June 12th. National Math Honor Society will be having their convocation May 22nd. Peer Leadership is hosting a color run on Lake Kenosha May 13th, and it's about running a 5K, and all proceeds will be going to Make-A-Wish Foundation. They also held a PIA teacher fundraiser on April 27th to 28th in the courtyard, which was, I believe, great. Not for the teachers, but I think we were able to raise some money. SNHS, or Science National Honor Society, convocation will be May 31st, and then ROTC Awards will be May 25th. June 1st, we're holding a multicultural food festival, which is being held by DHS Peer Leadership, and then we're going to be having voter registration on May 25th. And then also, Terry Well's sale was a great success, and it benefited greatly the Terry Well program, which is held at Terry Well Greenhouse. We also want to take this time to mention that this will be our last meeting for the school year, and while the rest of the officers are not able to make it to this meeting, we all want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to attend this monthly meeting and let you know a little bit about DHS. And with graduation fastly approaching, we recognize that the rest of our graduating class and we would not be able to be where we are without the hard work and support of the Board of Education. So we would love this opportunity. Thank you for all that you do to support the students of Danbury. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And ladies, before you leave, I do have one question. I don't know if anyone else does. Could you sit down for just 1 second? No, we'll be here. Can you please tell us what your name is?
Who did that? My name is Nadia. I'm one of the vice presidents of Board of Governors.
My name is Audrey. I'm the president of BOG.
Audrey, thank you so much. You guys did a great job tonight.
Thank you.
General update.
Okay, so we are up, yes. So we have some more amazing guests in the audience tonight. About a month ago, I recall sharing with the board and the community an update about Commissioner Russell Tucker's Voice for Change initiative. One of the words that was used when talking about our students in Washington, D.C., representing the state of Connecticut and the town of Danbury, was we sent 2 amazing ambassadors for the state of Connecticut and the city of Danbury, and our 2 former graduates in the audience this evening. And so I had the opportunity to see you both on TV, and it was as if I was watching 2 people who were running a company. Like, that's what it sounded like. And I mean, I was so proud to be a part of this district and working alongside all of the people who played a role in helping to shape and develop the 2 of you. And so we wanted to make sure we found an opportunity to get you back in front of this board tonight, in front of our community to celebrate you. We spent years developing what we call the Portrait of a Graduate. And so just before you left, we were beginning to try to shape it. But the Portrait of the Graduate was community informed. So we had folks from higher education, folks from industry, educators, teachers, and you embody all of those things that we're looking for in graduates. So I just want to thank you for taking time out of your college calendar to come back and join us this evening. And Ms. Lorenz, I want to thank you for every role you have played. I saw you smiling brightly alongside the commissioner that evening. I see a proud mom standing up right now taking pictures, and you should be. But we would love for you guys to come up and tell us about your visit to Washington, D.C., representing Danbury Public Schools, but of course the state of Connecticut. And so we've been looking forward to you coming back to join us. So please come on up and please find another chair and get up there and join us. And welcome back.
Are we on?
Hi, I'm Viviana Flores. I'm currently a freshman, almost sophomore now, as far as my final at Fordham University in the city. I'm majoring in political science with double minors in economics and sociology. So when I had the invitation to come back to Danbury and talk about Voice for Change, I obviously had to take time out of my final schedule to come back and talk about it, just because it was such a great experience going to Washington and working with Mr. Renz and Chapel and everyone else on Voice for Change. So yeah, I'm happy.
Hi guys, great to be back at Danbury Public Schools. I'm Chapel. I'm now a sophomore at the University of Connecticut, pursuing a finance major. Proud graduate of Danbury Public Schools. It was a great time going to DC, representing the district we love so much, and working with Mr. Lorenz and Viviana. We had lots of fun throughout DC and at the event, and we networked with some great people. So I look forward to share that with you.
So I'm blessed to teach it. Because I could not pick two students who could exemplify everything we want in our graduates better than these two. I mean, I had a slew of them to choose from, but they just did more than I ever thought that they could do. And they had a great time. I forgot your pictures, I just realized. We had some, as Chapel was saying, we had some amazing opportunities other than just preparing for and presenting at the CCSO's legislative conference on Voice for Change. One of the things that I was able to arrange is that we sat into a court case in front of the Supreme Court of the United States. And then we got to meet Justice Sotomayor in her chambers. Pictures of her. And that's what I forgot tonight. I'm so sorry, guys. And we went and to museums together, and like it was. They're grown-ups. How did that happen? I don't know. But all of a sudden they're grown-ups, and they were just amazing. You all saw, well, I don't know if all of you saw, but if you see the video, they just, I could not have been happier that day. I was just beaming from ear to ear because they are just so outstanding. And I want that for every single one of our students at DHS. I want it for all. And so that's what my classroom is about. And I'm just happy to see that they were able to take everything that they've learned at DHS from all of their teachers and put it into practice as they're going out to the world and becoming adults.
So Ms. Lorenz, Chapel, Viviana, I shared with the board a little bit about the Voice for Change initiative a couple of times now. And then we tried to celebrate and encourage everyone to go watch live you guys speaking. But can you walk us through, like, who was in the room and who else was talking? I was under the impression the commissioner was representing the state of Connecticut, but there were also representatives from the entire country there. And so can you just kind of walk us through who was in the audience that day?
So it was a small segment of a larger weekend at this conference. It was kind of like an all weekend kind of conference, but ours was on the last day, and it was about 3 hours to highlight what different schools across the country were doing with the ESSER grants that came out during the pandemic. So it was Connecticut, there was Utah, Missouri, and Tennessee. So they had various projects. Utah focused on implementing technology through the pandemic. Tennessee was working on tutoring. Missouri was grow your own. They were trying to get people that wanted to be teachers that had gone to Missouri school districts to come back and teach there. And then it was us. So it was those groups, and then there were various other people that stayed throughout the weekend and happened to attend that one single event. Of course, all the live stream and everything. It was kind of a roundtable discussion type of setup. So the commissioner facilitated the conversation and asked us questions, and then we answered them. They were prepped. I will say that. Very good. Yes, very, very prepped. And then we had kind of like a little bit of a time limit as well. It's kind of like the general format, but it's like, I don't have anything.
So the other people that were in the room were many of the chiefs of state schools around the country, their staff members. There were press, there were organizations that partner with school districts there. We were approached by several after our presentation, and I've had follow-up questions from them. And yeah, so that was essential, and also the CCSSO's staff was there. And so my understanding is a lot of these organizations are now going to be using some of this information to create materials about like the effects of ESSER, like what have been the effects. We also saw the night before our presentation, the Department of Education was there, and I'm trying to remember what else. I think that was about it that came to me. Yeah.
Well, in terms of the questions that we were asked about how we went about implementing the program, how we saw impacts in our community, and how they've been able to affect our standing in college, so how it's translated to leadership experience and how it's made us better students. I think we were able to convey that a program like that being allowed at Danbury Public Schools had a great impact, not on us, but now also we're looking at the high school. We're seeing better teacher break rooms, we're seeing more water fountains for kids to use. I'm sure it was a proud moment for the teachers at Danbury High and the students too. I'm not sure I even watched it yet, but getting their names out there. And I also made a joke about how Danbury teachers are the best, even though they can't give me extra credit anymore. So that really, I hope I drove home that Danbury teachers are the best in the country.
And just to add on to that, what Chapel was saying, it has had a lasting effect. I would love to see us implement something like this in our district for like every year. But some of the things, so you heard the girls that were here earlier talking about that there's going to be a voter registration drive. Well, the AP government students are running that with the League of Women Voters here in Danbury. So they're running that at my school. And then on, DHS, I should say, then there's the, last year there was the Day of Action Against Gun Violence that the kids got spurred on to do. And again, this year, a group of students started the Save Our Schools campaign. One of them sitting back there, supporting his fellow former students, leaders. So it has spurred on, I believe, a lot of civic action within our community, within our students, which is something that is really important that they get involved with. As I've been working on the Academy Pathway, we have had a lot of conversations. I'm working on the Justice and Law one, and I've been having a lot of conversations with leaders in different legal realms, and all of them are saying, like, students need to get involved in the community. They need to become part of the community. They need to feel welcomed into the community that we want. We want them to be here with us. And that's something that, I think that as we do more things like this and we get kids encouraged that it's okay to step out of your comfort zone, you're gonna be okay, we're gonna take care of you. I think that that can only make our community stronger. So I'm hopeful for that.
So, Ms. Lorenz, I want to thank you again for your work, your service, your commitment to this program and to our students. Chaplain Viviana, of course, we want to thank you again. I don't know if the board, of course, we want to embarrass the kids and ask them to take a picture with us. So before you do, does anyone have any questions for them?
I just want to make a comment and just say thank you guys for representing Danbury the way you did. It's pretty impressive. Just by listening to who was like in the room, it's amazing. So one of the things, like, this is what we kind of this is what we do it for, and to see the results and to see how proud you guys are and how the teachers are, and it's just, you know, at the end of the day, it makes it all worthwhile, because this is what it's about. We sit in here, we talk about other things, but seeing the results of the care and dedication to the teachers is just awesome. And thank you for being great representatives for Danbury. So the highlight of your night, after, if anyone else has anything to see, will be taking pictures with us. So, anyone else have any?
Just have one quick thing to say, and thank you both again for representing us down in DC. But I want to just do a shout out for Heather, because when Heather walked in, we just kind of looked at each other, because we said we think we saw each other like 6 times over the course of like the last 7 days.
I'm wondering when you're gonna put a desk in.
Right, because this is a testament to just how active you are right now. It's not just Voice for Change and all these other programs, but really taking on additional, you know, beyond teacher and leader responsibilities with helping with the pathway and pathway curriculum development, and so much more. You've just been a leader on so many fronts this year, and you're a magnet for inspiring students in your classroom, and you know, the fact that kids are showing up at night here to come support their colleagues, it's just, again, a testament to the kind of culture that you're creating in your classroom.
Scoop, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, I thought, okay.
You want me to say thank you again?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scoop. Kevin said you had something to say.
I'll let your shirt out.
How was your afternoon? Okay.
I got back 20 minutes before the meeting started.
You got here before I did. Okay. Where am I? So.
How was the game? The game was good.
No, I'm gonna get over
Yes. The
As long as you got your baby, you're good.
the worst team in baseball, 11-3.
At least they can beat some.
I'll take the win. I'll take the win.
So sophomores next year.
What do you mean? That's tough year because you have to serve. We're relying on younger. What?
No problem.
They brought a lot of big guns. They don't want a real serious.
Okay, either way, I think it's a good ending to the, okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
Right. Mike's gonna get that up on the,
Yes.
video or something.
See you soon. I'm gonna expect my dad.
I like really. So, it's you.
Academies of Nashville visit to Danbury. So right now we have tentative commitment. If the board indeed has an interest, have a tentative commitment from a board member in Nashville who has been part of the Academies of Danbury, Academies of Nashville since its inception. In addition, a chamber member from Nashville and an administrator from Nashville is willing and has agreed to come up if there is mutual interest here on our side. So I know the board, we sent an email out a couple of days ago and I had promised to follow up with some more details about the visit. And so they have committed to coming up. We put together a tentative agenda. The agenda could include, depending on the feedback, in which they would arrive Sunday night or at some point on Monday. We can welcome them with a welcome dinner, place to be determined. And with the welcome dinner, we thought it would be best to just kind of get to know the folks of Nashville, informally ask any questions you may have. And then they are committed to a full day of activities and opportunities for you to further engage them. Right now on the agenda, we have a AM breakout session with the board for folks who might be available during the day for 2 hours. A PM breakout session for the board members who are available just before a Board of Ed workshop. And the idea would be in a more intimate space to give you an opportunity to ask any and all questions you may have. And then in the middle between the AM and PM session, a lunch and learn with our invited business partners and city council members who might be available, civic leaders who might be available, and then of course any board members who are also available in a lunch and learn meeting, an opportunity to just talk about the model itself. Do this in a space with our partners who have already committed to helping and supporting us in any way they already have. We just thought, given all of the opportunities working with Brent thus far, it would be nice for them to connect the dots and hear firsthand from the people on the other side of the model what this looks like. Then last but not least, going into the workshop, an opportunity for the full board to ask questions from the folks from Nashville. And I would like to think we would also have some parents and families and students who can listen and firsthand listen to us in the audience, or of course they can just watch us on TV, because of course it can be streamed. So I just wanted to provide more details to that email that was sent out earlier. If there's interest from the board, we will start moving in this direction. The dates are Monday, June 20th, and Tuesday, June 21st. 19th and the 20th, sorry. It's Monday the 19th and Tuesday the 20th. So again, the 19th would be a welcome to Danbury evening. We would find a restaurant in town and try to set something, perhaps get a private room if that's possible, so we can have our own intimate space. And then Tuesday, we would walk through a full agenda and itinerary where, again, the board will have some kind of one-on-one time with a board member who frankly is, she's dynamic, and previously was not only a board member, but also a business partner, so she truly understands the model, and will be able to really speak to any questions I think the board members might have. And again, I think having someone from the chamber really helps to explain how this model is different from an education that the school system that we went through. And then last but not least, we're trying to find someone whose position is similar to Brent's, who can also speak to how it's working in a system that's already established and it's already mature, 10 plus years now, actually 16 plus years now. And so their story it's an impressive story in Nashville. I believe when we heard the story from the superintendent, I believe their high school graduation rate was in the high 50s, and they were very close to being taken over by the state of Nashville, and they implemented a model that they felt was going to help change their trajectory, and it did. And so I believe they're like 85+% graduation rate now, which I think speaks volumes of how they've turned that district, that school community around. What you also learn is, I'm not sure, I don't recall how many high schools are in the school district, but 16 of them are actually part of the academies of Nashville. And so it's not every school in the entire system are part of the academy model. But 16 of them are. You'll also hear that as part of the story. And so I don't know if anyone has any questions or wanted to ask some more questions, have some feedback about the actual itinerary. If you are interested, one way that we have some time to kind of modify if this is something you're interested in, you want to pursue.
That's a good question. What is our graduation?
82.
Are you trying, through the chair, I'm sorry, are you trying to sort of have a halfway number as to who's going to be at this meeting? We don't want people to come from Nashville and no board members here.
Right.
Do you have a cutoff date to sort of, so board members would say, well, I will be in attendance?
we will definitely need an RSVP, Ms. Cooper, and if I hear this evening that the board has an interest in me pursuing this, I would assume that the 19th and 20th are days the board will be able to commit to. And then we can RSVP in terms of the AM and PM breakout sessions. But I really think the board would really benefit from the welcome dinner, very informal. I think it will make it easier to ask those questions on day 2. And they're ready, as I was talking to Brent, the model, their model is so mature now. They must have been 600-700 people in the audience the day when we went to go visit. And so they actually get some type of commission for hosting school districts. Like they make money from this. And so many members also of their team receive consultant fees for working with districts because they've been doing it so long, they've been doing it so well. So this is not new to them, and again, I think we'll also benefit from that expertise. But going back to your question, yes, an initial commitment from the board would be helpful, so I can continue to talk to Nashville so we can pursue the specifics, but I will need RSVPs at the very least the AM and PM breakout sessions, so we can make sure we have refreshments.
I think it's a great idea to either fellowship, to get an understanding more about the Career Academy. We can hear it from Brett, okay, his perspective. But I think when we sit down and talk to their board members and the people that's coming here and have that communication with them, we might see a different view or understand it better. That's just me. I just think it's, you can put me down to number 1 if I'm right.
I agree.
I support it.
So you want to get it, so obviously you want you to move forward with pursuing it. Okay. And the 19th, and let's do it now, 19th and 20th work with
Yes.
Okay. Yes, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Kate, how you doing over there, Kate, all right?
I'm hoping to be there for it, that's my
Okay.
plan. Thank you.
Okay.
And I just also want to just say, thank you for making this arrangement. I know that, we had some folks who went down to the academies in Nashville, and it was exciting for those folks, a little disappointing for those of us who were not selected to go. So you guys are doing the next best thing and bringing them on here to us, which I really appreciate.
Thank you for mentioning that, Kate. And so I think probably depending on your view, the superintendent in Nashville, I don't think we can get her up here. We are going to ask again. But the board member she is a powerhouse, and is given her time in district number 1, but given the fact that she's been there from the inception of this work, I think you're going to get a lot of information and learn a lot about the program and the academy model during this visit. And what we learned when we went down to Nashville is that it was very clear, I think, to Kara and I, that Brent was very, should I say, entrenched in the school community there. And to know that we still have a network that we can tap, right? And so not only does Brent have the Rolodex where he can tap the resources in Nashville, but it's opened the doors for Kara to have multiple people she can tap for and resource and help us with this work. And so if we can find a way down to also have a board member serve as a resource to our board members, I think that will also be helpful. It's another layer in the organization. So we're excited about the idea. The same thing with PJ, his role with the chamber, and then having a member from their chamber come up. So we're hoping it's going to be really beneficial for Denver Public Schools.
As a board member, I would like to go down and see it for myself as well. Especially, I am not up for re-election this cycle. I think carrying it forward, I would very much like to go be on board with everything that's going on.
So we are continue to pursue grants like we always do. Like I said before, we'll explore that. There are visits 2 times of the year, once in the fall and once in the spring. So we'll revisit that again and plan a trip. We're not gonna plan a trip just so we can sit you down, but we are, as part of a cycle, planning a trip because there's another ongoing study visits that need to take place for us to continue to learn about model. So yes, we will explore that as I mentioned.
Anything else?
There was one question, I don't know if this is the time to ask, but for grading, will the grading be the same, the grading system?
Yes, the model doesn't change.
Doesn't change.
Policies around the grading.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wilson.
And then we have one more general update regarding our security RFP. And Dr. Seelig is going to take that.
Thank you, Superintendent Wilson. So many of you have heard about our Connecticut State Security Grant that we were awarded last year for multimedia interoperability. And I've talked to the board and specifically sites a little bit about this as we've gone through this process. We launched an RFP back in, I think it was January, and we've been working through a process where we had a bunch of different companies come in who responded to the RFP. We had a selection committee comprised of principals, administrators, technology folks. Board Member Coelho served on it as well. And we believe we've reached the point where we are about to identify a finalist. And that finalist, we're hoping to have the full approval of the RFP in front of this board at the next meeting in 2 weeks. So we wanted to make sure that everyone had just a good snapshot of just what this system was, how it works, and kind of what it's going to do. And like I said, the grant that we got through the state Homeland Security is going to pay for the majority of these services. So I apologize, I didn't get to share these slides with you as I only got them late last night. So I can send this out to everybody tomorrow morning so you can have them for your own review. So real quick, the name Raptor may sound familiar. They also manage our visitor management system. When you go into a school, you dip your ID into the slot and it does a background check. This is that same company, so it will seamlessly integrate with that technology. There's a couple high-level features that it has that I just want to share with you. Number one, most importantly, is the large-scale incidents. So these are, panic buttons, alert buttons that will go straight to police and emergency operations. It comes right up on the PSAP so they can see all the information about who's sending in the message, where it is, and increases the response time. It also has a feature for small-scale incidents. So, for example, maybe there's a fight or something that happens in the school. You don't want to notify emergency services, but you would need the principal or the safety advocate to come to the aid of a teacher or whatever. That's another feature that would be included in this. So it has both of those capabilities. There's also drill management software. It'll help us manage all of the different drills and compliance reports that we have to do with our schools. So we know that all our schools are doing their various drills as dictated by the state. This is another feature where it will actually provide mapping of our schools and show where critical services are, whether it's fire extinguishers or cameras or other things like that. So everyone will have emergency services will have a map of the school. If there's any need for that, they'll know exactly where to go and in what room and how to find it. It also has group messaging. So during an event, the people that need to be informed are looped in, from police to emergency operations to the principal to central command. Everybody will be on that app and not trying to, oh, is that an email? Is that a text message? Well, I texted. Everybody's in that group thread, so it just keeps a lot of that messaging consistent and clean. And this is another feature. It's reunification. So if there's an event, and let's say we want to pull everybody into the classrooms and get them out of the hallway. there's actually two features here. One is I can pull a kid into my classroom if it's a passing period, and if that student's not in my class, I can still go into this app and claim that I have Ms. Kara Casimiro, and then the teacher who is expecting Ms. Casimiro to be in her class will see that she's safe with me. So the other side of this is that if there is a situation where we would need to reunify students with parents, there's a clear system here built on the I Love You Guys template that allows us to understand who all the children are, who their assigned guardians are that we're allowed to release them to. It shows a picture of the student, the signature of the parent goes right into the app, and then we have a complete record of reunification. The current system is really just paper, so you have to keep printing it and updating it as attendance lists change, the lists change. It's a laborious process currently, and this would really streamline a lot of them. And there's a whole bunch of other bells and whistles and integrations that this technology can do. So like I said, we have visitor management right now through Raptor, but we also have cameras, we have alarms on our doors, so if a door's been propped open, things like that. This would integrate a lot of those, so it would all come through the same system, and then the advocate and anybody who needs access to that would be able to see all those things coming up in the same system. And then there's just a comprehensive dashboard, so we can see everything, who's using the system and who's drilling on it and who's compliant. And if somebody hasn't done their October drill yet, we can call them up and say, hey, you need to do your October fire drill. And it's just a nice way for us to keep in check and on top of security from a district standpoint. And this is a feature that we are exploring adding on. It's a in-person training program. They would come out, and so there's a basic training program where they'd help you through tech support, things like that. If you need it, they'd call you up and walk you through certain technology and other issues that might come up. But this is where they would actually have on-site support. They'd come out and actually help you with drills. So if you wanted to test, say, that reunification software, they would help you run a drill. And you could have your school safety team involved in it, and everybody can practice and develop that muscle memory. So if something were to happen, everybody would have been drilled in that, and they would support that as part of this package that we're exploring adding on to. Okay, I think that's it. So, like I said, we wanted everybody to be just up to speed on the RFP. Please feel free to reach out if there's any other questions. I'm going to share these slides with everybody. We're working through some final things right now on pricing and contract, and we're hoping to have that final action for this board on our agenda in 2 weeks' time, where we'll officially award the RFP. And then our plan is to start implementing really quickly thereafter so that we can start doing a lot of the technological back-end stuff over the summer. We want to get it on everybody's radar before we go away for break so that they know what it is when they come back and they start seeing this new language and terminology built into the school safety plans, and then start training and drilling already at the start of next year.
Is this a app? Is it put on the personal phones of the teachers and students?
So it can be an app. It works on every piece of technology that we have. So it will work on teachers' computers. So if they don't want to install it on their phone, they don't have to. If there's an emergency, it'll pop up on their computer. It actually even has smartboard integration. So if someone's up at the board teaching and they're not looking at their computer, it would pop up on the smartboard and say, there is an alert, and then they would know to, check the messaging or whatever it is they need. There's options to put it on the phone if a teacher decides to do it, but it wouldn't be mandatory.
Now, we have the teacher comment about bringing the phones to the classroom. If the students are not, they have to put in the phones in a cubbyhole, say. And would that interfere with this program?
No, not at all. This would only be teachers and staff.
Just teachers and staff, not students.
Correct.
So it's not accounting for students, it's accounting for teachers.
No, so the student rosters, this would tie directly into our student information system, and that's how the system would pull all the class rosters and things like that. So as me, a teacher, I would see my whole class roster, and if there's an alert or an alarm, I would know immediately based on that real-time list. So if somebody left early, say to go to a dentist appointment, that would be reflected in that list, and I could say, oh, that's why he's not here, his mom picked him up.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
So you're gonna email us,
Yes.
So we got some more updates on this. Superintendent goals update.
All right. So goal 1.2, Dr. Casimiro recently visited Charlotte, and so this was a study visit. I shared with the board the last time, Dr. Casimiro, that might be asking you to provide an update. That would be amazing if you could. Maybe talk about how this visit was different from your last, and also some key takeaways, because I know you came back with kind of a mind shift when you got back. Yes.
So, again, took a small team to Charlotte. That was Principal Donovan, Brett Dean, Dr. Martins, and myself. And the purpose of the visit was really to understand the partnership piece. This one high school, Olympic High School in Charlotte-Mecklenburg, had over 700 partners. This one college and career readiness director, who's kind of what Brent would be doing here, brought in almost $20 million of income donations and partnerships in his tenure. And as a result of that, the state of North Carolina knocked on his door when it came time to do a $24 million clean energy grant for the state. They asked him, as he's trying to retire, they asked him to open up a brand new, one of 4 brand new high schools in Charlotte-Mecklenburg, because they're experiencing tremendous growth in that area. It's unbelievable how many developments are happening down there. So they begged him to come over to Palisades High School, which is a brand new high school, and replicate what he was doing over in Olympic High School. Bosch Manufacturing, Bosch Appliances, partnered with Olympic High School and created a multi-million-dollar facilities lab for students to train and practice, a training facility. And basically they're taking kids right out of that facility, high school. They're making close to 6 figures coming out, and these companies are, not just Bosch, their companies are paying for students to go to school while they're apprenticing with their companies. There's a tremendous amount of manufacturing, very clean, high-tech manufacturing down in North Carolina. And they are clamoring for students with a certain skill set. There's this idea of durable skills and hard skills. And the hard skills come when you have I use one of the companies that we met the president of the company called Grobinger. And Grobinger makes, so if you think of anything that fills bottles, medicine vials, vaccines, lipstick tubes, shampoos, they make the machines around the world individually and uniquely customized for any company that's filling something and moving it along a conveyor belt. Really high-tech stuff. And every machine is different. And so when you can have an engineer that graduates, North Carolina, they still have to do the same training as if it's kind of ground zero on these types of machines. So they invest in students, they invest on that side in the training, that's a given, on the hard skills. But what they're struggling with, and what we heard in our industry partnership day, is this idea about these durable skills, about the type of worker that they're looking for that come to them. So they spent a lot of time, this particular company spent a lot of time talking about how Olympic High School really developed that type of person that had the attributes that they were looking for to invest in over time. But besides from that, it was really focused on how this one person, Mike Reallen, developed all these relationships and how important that piece became in this mutually beneficial exchange of what the school systems were producing and what the local regional economy needed and demanded. And so the school systems are now aimed at feeding this growing metro area that is booming with success, that is driving skilled positions from entry level all the way through way post-secondary high-tech stuff. And so the bottom line with the relationship piece is that it's really what we're asking, I think we've approached this with companies and our area businesses, is what can you do to help us? How can you come and help Danbury Public Schools? What are you gonna do for us? And really the question is, what are we gonna do for you, right? So we're trying to create this beneficial pipeline for our students to have opportunities, but in order to do that, we really need to start asking questions differently of our industry partners or industry influencers and say, what is it that you're looking for? And then how can we design things that, if it works out for the best interest of students and there's opportunities at the end of it, to meet that need, to create that pipeline of opportunity for students. The jobs that students were getting coming out of high school were mind-boggling. There was a lot of companies that were paying for, access to the academies is completely open. But once you get into the academy, those internships become competitive, right? Not everybody's gonna get to go out and go into one of those internships. And from those internships, not everybody's gonna get an apprenticeship. And so how do you inculcate students with the right dispositions and character and skills to be competitive for those types of opportunities and have these companies pay for students to have their education taken care of and in return have a great job waiting at the other end of that. So it's very eye-opening in that sense of flipping the mindset of how we're approaching industry. It's not how you can support the school system, it's how we can support you to create a relationship that's going to provide opportunities for students at the other end. So it was a wonderful, wonderful trip. They really pushed on our thinking and our mindset, and it was time well spent.
Questions?
Internships for the students, are they paid?
There's all kinds of internships. So some are paid, some are just hours, right? So we'll provide a student 15 hours of internship. They can come in the summer, they can start in the summer, they can come after school. If you're a senior and you get out early, we've got some opportunities. Some of the more competitive ones are paid. So students who do well, it's kind of a tiered system. And they've structured them differently with different companies to meet the company's needs. And if they were interested in students, that some of them, they had 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 interns that would come. They provided a project, an industry-inspired project that was real and timely. Sometimes they would put real problems that the industry were trying to solve themselves. And kids are not constrained with all the things that can go wrong when they're trying to look at things. And so they're not thinking about the money, they're not thinking about the policy and the legislation and the liability, and this has been tried before. Sometimes kids come up with really brilliant ideas because they're not constrained by the adult things that we've all experienced, right? Rejection. And so they have students solve real problems for them. And at the end of those, they've offered really high-paid internships and potentially apprenticeships. Again, meaning you're working with a really high-skilled person, potentially an engineer, for example, and a lot of these companies were paying for the kids to go to school locally. They're on a 6-year plan. It was amazing.
Well, what happens with the student that has to work and the internship doesn't pay?
So these are all choices for students. So the goal is to create as many opportunity scenarios out there and to partner with each industry expert that to create and generate what would work for them. Again, that's what works for you, and we'll make that connection and provide a student who has flexible thinking and is we're going to be working with them. Some of the curricular experiences would be about how do you act correctly in a workplace. You gotta be on time, you gotta show up, you gotta be dressed, you have to address people properly, you have to make good eye contact. You have to wait your turn at the table when you're having a conversation, you have to be able to participate, you gotta be a good team member. What does that mean? How do you maximize your skills at the table? You know, what are you good at? What's your partner good at? How do you team up to create a product? So there's a lot of learning involved in that. And that's part of the, and that is a huge tie-in with the portion of the graduate in this work. So a lot of the durable skills that we talk about, you know, being a good communicator and a collaborator and a learner, right, and innovation, all of those things are highly embedded in this type of work. And those are the durable skills, more so than those hard technical skills that everybody, you know, we're kind of heading into this thinking that our industry partners are gonna be like, well, you're gonna have to know how to code and do all of these things. Well, they're gonna train talent anyways, but they want us to produce a student of character and one that will be a good employee and be productive for the team and the company. Because, you know, this one industry fellow kind of put us in our place. He said, you know, if you produce failure in your school system, you just keep pushing them through and they don't have skills, your consequences are far fewer for you as a school district than me as a company. We go out of business if we fail. So how can we work together to make sure that what you're producing is meeting the growing economic demands and that kids are ready for these types of jobs that are like really spinning very quickly into a whole other realm of skill. So we've got those durable skills. Durable means, you know, they last forever and are timeless, and that's what we gotta work on.
Question?
Quick question. What's the average length of partner contract? So we're talking about how, is it like 3 years? Because, you know, obviously it kind of.
So some have been, it varies, right? Some have been involved with that particular school for like 20 years. Like you are my go-to, you are my resource for how we're gonna staff our folks, you know, for every 10 kids that come through and do internships, maybe one will come back from college and we're gonna hire that kid. We have a relationship with them, we know who they are, we trust them, we know they're gonna be part of our family. And some are probably more short-lived. You know, as we're approaching the work with the industry folks, you know, and this, you know, the idea of having an advisory board, and we had some real reflective conversations about slowing that down a little bit, because we're dating our industry partners right now, right? We're dating. And Brent and I have a chuckle about that because we're new at this and we want to make sure that we have a good fit. So before we dive in and have an advisory board and say you have this strong influence on what's happening in our school system, we want to make sure that there's a good fit and that there's a mutually beneficial, you know, some reciprocity there in what they need and what we need, and that produces that best opportunity for students. So we definitely took a step back and are a lot more reflective about our approach, and you know, we'll be taking a little bit slower and making sure that we build relationships with folks to see that it works for everybody.
Has Brent like identified like an industry need? Like, does he see more in like? I know Danbury has a lot of different businesses. Does he see more like in manufacturing? Is it more in like companies that?
Healthcare is beating down our door.
Right. Yeah.
Manufacturing is a little bit tougher. Like, there's a huge need for it, right? But then there's, you know, how do you get the kids, you know, get to the facilities, right? So we can't necessarily replicate some of the facilities. So we have to really, that's a little bit more of a tougher one for us, although there's a lot of people out there who are also interested in doing that. Healthcare is really huge in this area, and you know, everybody wants to get a hold of our CNAs. So that's a pipeline to, you know, many healthcare, you know, jobs. So it's not just CNA, that's the beginning. That's not the end goal for most of the kids. We've got kids that are going on to be surgical technicians, you know, doing the instruments in the operating room, making close to 6 figures, you know, in some cases. You know, the CNAs, if you get CNA coming out of high school and you want to be a nurse, nursing school is very competitive, and direct entry nursing programs are 10 times more competitive. UConn has like a 4% acceptance rate. When you come out of high school and you've got a high school diploma and a CNA certificate, you've had your patient contact hours squared away, and you've been certified in at least 3 more things. You've got all these things and you're ready to go. You have now made yourself 10 times more competitive than your average applicant going into college. So it's not just about getting a CNA license, it's about positioning for competitiveness beyond the walls of Danbury High School. In any regard, that's just one example.
And any like feeder program for teaching, since we're short on.
Yeah, so we're gonna be growing our own, we're hoping to grow our own, so as part of our pathway development, and Heather Lorenz was part of the Academy for Professional Public Service, she's one of the pathway leaders. So we have an education pathway, and we have the law, a few others, and so they work together to talk about those foundational grade 10 course. The goal is to graduate our high school students with a paraprofessional license, that's very obtainable in high school. And so they'll get exposure to early childhood development, they'll understand those things, CPR, and then the end goal is to get a parapro, take that parapro test. So you can, it's kind of like a pro test, parapro test assessment. So you graduate high school, you can come back and you can work as a paraprofessional in our own school district, probably working more with the younger grades. That really positions you well for experience and exposure. Do I actually want to be an educator? I have the confidence to do this. I've learned some classroom management skills. I don't understand the appropriate way to interact with parents and to deal with teachers and administration and understand the confidentiality rules and laws. There's a lot to learn doing that. And while the pay for parapro isn't super great, and hopefully we're working on that over the years, the idea is that you really created a pipeline to become for education. And we're also simultaneously looking at a lot of our universities right now. We're in collaboration with Post and a few others in WestCon. Quinnipiac's knocking on our door because they have they're offering early college credits. So Post, for example, right now, for $150, you can take a 3-credit course. And so some of our, we're looking to do alignments between the three classes that we're developing, and to say, hey, why not provide students an opportunity when they're taking this 11th grade course in a professional public service that they can also get 3 credits at Post University, which, by the way, transfer to any state university systems as like kind of a cash equivalent, right? So we're looking for lining those things up. And it'll take us a few years to find all the right matches, but we've got a good start on it right now. So kids will come out with certificates and have a few college credits under their belt, and definitely a better sense of what they want to do or not when they leave Danbury High School.
Right. Thank you, Karen. Any questions? Any other questions? That's it. So do we need a motion to enter an executive session?
So moved.
Okay.
Thank you. Good night. Thanks, Fred.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's on the agenda.
Yeah.
It's on the agenda. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?